Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I hope you guys had a lovely weekend. It's Sunday evening here at the moment. We have had heavy rainstorms since yesterday, so we are a bit late recording the video because with this rain it's just been so noisy. It's really come down and thunderstorm and everything here where we stay. We are continuing with our sewing techniques, and I've had a customer that requested that I show an easy technique or an easy way to do a zip. She said she's been battling with doing zips, so I thought, okay, let me just show you my way. I do my zip without any pins or anything like that, so that I get a nice smooth finish when I'm sewing it. What I am going to do, and I've just done one sample already, I just wanted to show you. Okay, this is usually if I would do a zip, let's say if I'm making a skirt or anything like that, that is my zip that I would do. And for me, it's important that I'm not seeing the teeth there where the opening of the fabric is. So I hope you can see it on camera, but it actually the edges are lying nicely next to each other. I'm just waiting, all right, so that you don't see the teeth. And what happens typically sometimes if you do so with pins, the fabric can move, and then some places you will see a bit of the teeth. It's almost as if it's pulled open a bit, and in some places it's covered it quite nicely. And if I open it as well, just to show you, and I'm going to move a bit closer, can you see even if it's open like that, it's a nice even zip that I've got there, everything nicely on the edge of the zipper teeth as well. So I'm just going to show you this technique, and as I mentioned, I don't do zips at all. Not zips at all. I don't do pins at all when I sew my zips. I just find that the pins, as soon as I put it in, there can be movement on the zip, and I always find that I also get a bit of a wave in my fabric when I do that. So let me show you my technique, how I do my zip. Let's just have a look at my zip again. If you look at my zip, like I mentioned, everything is nice and even. There's no pulling away. You can't really, if I have to press this nicely now, you won't see the teeth. But one thing that I want you to notice, if you look at the way that I do my zip, the zipper pull is sticking out past the fabric. I don't like working with the zipper pull in this area when I'm doing my zip, because as soon as I've got to open my zip, move it to start sewing and then move it back up again, I just find that I'm moving the fabric in the zip too much, and then I am going to not get a perfect zip. So I like to have that zipper pull to the top. And remember, I am going to cut away there, but when I'm cutting away, I'll move my zip down a little bit. I would go sew my facing on first. Once I've sewn my facing on, that facing actually secures. It's almost like I've done a securing stitch at the zipper teeth, and then I can go cut away the excess. I will not have it when I pull the zipper pull up coming off there as well, because it is enclosed in my facing that I'm going to sew afterwards. So that is one of my things that I do. So the next one that I also want to mention, if you look at this, I've got a bit of a stabilizer on, an iron-on stabilizer. I always stabilize this area where I'm going to work. And with this stabilizer, this is that I mentioned, it is a nice soft thin stabilizer. I don't like a very thick one or bulky, so that it makes my fabric bulky. And again, I always work, because I do dressmaking and I'm making clothing, I work with a fabric stabilizer. I do not use paper stabilizer in my garments whatsoever. So what I'm going to do now, the first step we're going to do, we're going to baste together. Our seam allowance is 1.5, so I'm going to go and work on my 1.5 seam allowance. And when I start as well, I will do a bit of a securing stitch on the top. I know it's a basting stitch, but I am going to do just 2 stitches backwards, because I don't want it to pull open when I'm pressing it open to put my zip underneath my fabric. So let's just go with that, and I'm going to do 1, 2, and I'll just, as I said, I'm just going to do. There we go. So now I'm going to go, and remember it's a basting stitch. I'm going to unpick it, so you need to go to your longer stitch length so that you can unpick it easily. And I will measure and see if I'm just going to do a bit of a mark, because I'm going to go past there. And if I see where I'm going to end, I would usually go and either put a mark, or I would go and put a pin in there, so that I know I'm just going to keep my finger there for now. So let's just do a long stitch to keep our pieces together. And as soon as I come to the mark where I know I've got to stop with the basting stitch. And imagine it's a skirt and I've got the rest of the skirt hanging off here. Now I'm going to finish sew together the rest of the seam. So I need to go to my normal stitch length, and I'm going to go just a bit forward and backward, just reverse it, just secure that area. And I'm doing it with my left hand just so my hands are out of the way. And go to the edge of your fabric. And if you come to the end of your fabric, you're just going to reverse stitch it again for me. Okay, so what I've done now, if you can notice there, I've got quite a long stitch, which is keeping it together. There you'll see I've done my securing stitch, and from there I've got my normal stitch length. Then you're going to go to your ironing board and you are going to press it open for me. So everything is pressed open now. I've just got a piece of thread there, and if you look at the inside, everything is pressed open. And now I'm going to show you how I place my zipper to sew in the zipper. The next step that I want you to do, and I always use this, this is like a hemming tape that I have. This one is 6 millimeters, a 1/4 inch. And I use the steamer seam. We get from America the steamer seam product, which is quite nice. If I take it off, I can put it, I just want to pull a piece away. I can put it on my fabric and it basically glues down on the fabric, and I can peel away, and it's not stayed away, but I'm not going to do it on my fabric now, but it will leave that layer there for me of the gluey side. And then I can place whatever I want to secure with it, I can place on top, and if I'm not happy, I can peel it off and do it again. And once that is done, I would take my iron and I'll secure it. For now, I'm hoping to get that stock in December. They are out of stock. But in the meantime, we also have something similar. It's the So Easy binding tape. That one you'll just have to iron for me. But you'll see I've put my strips on here, and I just take it with my finger and I just secure that tape to the bottom. And then I can peel off my paper there, and it actually just leaves that bit of a gluey layer for me. And now what I'm going to do to show you is I'm going to place this teeth of the zipper. I want to run exactly in the center of my seam that I have there. So as I'm going to work, I'm placing it there, and I've got my tape there, and I just glue it down a little bit. And I lift it. I'm going to try and show you from this side. I lift it, and as I'm going, I just run down that seam on the teeth, and as I'm doing it, I just check again, and I can see I'm still in the center because I want to stay in the center. There we go. I take my iron, and now I secure my zip to my fabric. As I mentioned, I don't use zip. I keep saying zips. I don't use pins when I am working with my zips. So I'm just going to secure this side as well. And that keeps my zip in place, so there's going to be no movement whatsoever now when I am going to sew my zip. You'll also see I tend to press not on the teeth itself. I am next to the teeth because all I want to do is secure that. I might just touch a little bit on the top, but I don't put a lot of heat on the teeth. And then I'm just going to check if everything, and if you look at that, everything is secured there. Just can do this little edge at the bottom still. There we go. That's it. And everything into my zip is secured now. So let me sew the zip and show you what it looks like. Put your zipper foot on your machine. Mine, if you look at my needle, I will have to move my needle position because I've got a little bar there on my foot. So if you have one of those feet, like for some of our bonnettes as well, and you'll find on other machines as well, you might have a zipper foot, and you can either clip it on the right or the left hand side depending on which side you want to sew. Mine, I've got to move my needle position, and I'm just going to check and see where I'm sewing. I'm happy with that. And now also another thing that I do, I work my zip on with a stitch length of 3. I just prefer that. It just gives me a nice finish. So usually some people will do it on a 2.5 because that is our basic stitch length for normal sewing, but I just like the look of a 3mm stitch length. So I'm going to start it now. My zip will be guiding, will be my guide basically that I'm using. If you're scared you're going to, let's put it this way, if you're scared you're going to sew a little bit skew, then take your chalk or your marking pen and take a ruler and just draw all the way around where you want to stitch. That way you know you are going to be getting a straight stitch. I'm just using my normal number 4 zipper foot. We do have in the Bernina a 14 foot which has got a guide on it. I've got that foot, but I decided not to use it today because I know a lot of you don't have that foot. So I just wanted to show you that I'm using the side of my foot actually to guide. So I will make sure that the edge of the foot will run the same amount all the way down from the center of that seam. So I'm going to do my first stitch and I'm just going to secure it. Okay, let's carry on. And now I'm just making sure. And another tip just for you guys, if you are beginners, don't watch your needle. Watch always where your foot is, whatever your guiding is that you want to do. Keep an eye on that. Some people try and keep an eye on the needle and see where it's sewing. Don't do that. Just use whatever is guiding you. And so I'm keeping an eye on that edge of my zipper foot so that I keep it even all the way. And one thing I did want to do, I just wanted to put my machine, I just wanted to set my machine so the needle stops down because we are going to be turning a corner. There, I've just gone a little bit skew because I'm chatting away here. Okay, so let's see. Now I'm going to turn the corner. Just turn it like that, and also be aware that you go past. We've got a little metal stopper at the bottom of the zip. Make sure that you've gone past that metal zipper, otherwise you are going to break a needle. And what I like to do here, because I'm going over and I haven't made any markings for myself, I tend to count how many stitches do I do till I get to that center where my seam is, and then I count that same amount when I'm going over to the other side. So let's see, it's 1, 2, it looks like that 2 is right in the middle, so let's go 1, no, I can go 2, I've just gone over it now, 1, 2, there we go. So I just count and make sure that I've got the same amount on each side. And now I'm just going to sew up, and can you see I've used no pins. Look how smooth my fabric is lying because it's secured to my zipper tape. There we go. I've gone a bit skew, guys, but I'm sitting at an angle here. I'm not sitting in front of my machine, because if I sit right in front of my machine, I'm actually in the way here. So I might have just gone a little skew there. There we go. So there's my zipper sewn. Look at that. So all I have to do now, everything you can see is nice and smooth. It couldn't open up and gape because I did my basting stitch and I kept the fabric together. Now all you're going to do, I just want to get rid of these little threads. I don't want them to be caught in my, sorry, there we go. So now all you're going to do is just pick up from the outside, and I just start picking it up and get your unpicker in there, because the stitches are nice and big. I can just go and open it up. Look at that. Just be careful that you don't cut your fabric, but that's an easy way to do. I'm just going to pick it up like this. Let's go in there again. There we go. Just want to show you the finish. If you're scared of that you're going to cut your fabric, you can always work it this way and just pull open a little bit at a time. And cut away, pull open a little bit, cut away. All right, I'm just going to open to there for now, and then obviously I would go and I would just remove these little bits of fluff, but I'm just going to leave it there for now. You've seen my other one. It's just because I've cut it away there, but let's go and open the zip. And again, if we look at the edge, this is now going to, I'll be wanting to pull it off all the time, but if you look at the edge, can you see the edge of my teeth? I'm wanting to move it this way so you guys can see the edge of the teeth. Let's do it this way. is all in line all the time with my fabric on both sides. You don't have the teeth that's sticking out excessively. There's no pulling of the fabric so that it opens it up. And when I close it again, there we go. We have got a nice perfect flat zip that we've sewn. So that is how I want you to do it. Now obviously go do your facing. Just remember, and it does happen sometimes, don't leave your zipper pull up on the top there. Remember to pull it down and then go do your facing. Otherwise you sew your facing and your zipper pull is on the top and you can't pull it down again. So this is really, just remember, it's a reminder for you, because I've done it where I actually left it on the top and I had to unpick my facing so I could get my zipper pulled to the bottom. That is my method of doing a zip. For me, it's the easiest way to get a nice finish on my zips. I really hope you're going to try it. Again, this is for our reference file, and I hope you've been making your reference file with us. This was the third video. Now this zipper technique I do for my skirts, for instance, if I'm doing like my maxi skirts, my pencil skirts, anything like that. I do have another video on YouTube. Just go and have a look at my earlier videos where I show you how I did my zip for my jeans when I sewed my jeans. And I want you to look at that and also add that to your reference file so that you've got both techniques for your zips. And that way, the one that I've done for the zip, you can also apply to when you're doing a pants with that zip on the front. So go and do that for me. And then lastly, I just wanted to talk about our reference file continuing from here. So from here on in, I'm actually going to, sorry, I'm struggling over my words today. It's actually quite late here. But what I want you to do now is just follow along, because we're going to now go into more of the garment sewing side techniques. This was just a couple to get us going, easy techniques. So from now on, as I said, we are garment sewers, and all the techniques that I want to do for my file is going to be techniques for while I'm doing my clothing. So the next one we're going to do is let's say neckline finishes. So next video is going to be for a V-neck that we're going to do. That V-neck will be on a knit fabric, so I'll show you a knit fabric, and then I'll also show you some twin needle sewing that I do with that as well. And we'll just cover for the next 3 or 4 videos different necklines and how I would finish those necklines. So I really hope that you are going to do your reference file with us, and that you can, it's going to be something useful. I want you to be able to go back to it and look at it, and anytime you want to do a technique, so that it's your little book that you go to with all your information to make your sewing easier for you. I think that is it from us. It's, as I mentioned, it is already nighttime here because we've had so much rain. I hope for you guys as well that you had lots of rain. It's been so dry here, so this has actually been a blessing to get all this rain, but it's been raining non-stop here since last night. And you'll see I'm wearing something warm as well. One of my customers on the introduction to garment sewing sent a message on the group, and she also mentioned she's wearing a jacket because the ladies started finishing their jackets now, and she said perfect weather now for a new jacket that she's just made. So I don't know, it's just lovely having all this weather, all this rain and that. But from here on in, guys, you must have a lovely week. I hope you're going to do lots of sewing. Share your ideas with us. Share whatever you make with us. Please post photos on our Bernina Facebook page. I love to see what you guys are doing, and just sharing it with our other customers as well. So have a lovely week. I'll speak to you guys next time. Bye-bye.